He's our old friend, Eddie Hearn of Matchroom Boxing. Here he is. Edward, how are you?
I'm very well, sir.
Great
How are
to see
you?
Oh, everyone's so upset that you're here again.
Really?
Yes, come, let's hug it out. Oh, man, you look
I'm
fantastic.
just a bit disappointed that I have to follow this. I mean, no, I don't know my MMA, but
How about that guy?
cheat. I mean, what a rogue interview.
Why?
You know, well, it's just so,
It was good.
refreshingly real.
Yes, right. Oh,
and,
real. I thought you said rogue.
No, well, rogue and real. I mean, it was rogue because,
Yeah.
I mean, the language was a little bit blue. But,
No, but that's what
all of a sudden you got this guy. Is he in Ecuador?
No, he's in California, but from Ecuador.
From Ecuador.
Yeah.
And he's sitting there on his swing chair with his dog in the background. You know,
Isn't it
and then
amazing?
you bring in me.
Well, I know. I mean, this is what we do. We're sort of, people have been saying we should change the name of the show to the Combat Hour because we're pretty much, the voice of all these different combat sports. So we'll go from Chito Vera to you, and it's seamless. There's no notes in front of me. There's nothing that I need to read. Hello to the team over there. You always come with a crew. So it's another big week for you. By the way, we have a lot to discuss. I don't know if you know this. People were saying like, oh, Eddie again in studio. I'm like, he was last year in February.
That's refreshing.
Yeah, no, but it's no different than what you're used to with the boxing media because it's literally Tuesday you do an interview with these.
Me here.
Oh,
Parsons,
for fuck's sake.
IFL.
All these guys.
Yeah. And they've been chasing you for an interview.
Yeah, but I'm like, listen. You can't overexpose me, right? There's something to overexposure. I gave you one. We have to wait till next year.
I feel like that's how you've always been in your career.
Smart, though,
Never
right?
do too much.
Never do too much.
Like, I was trying to get you on the broadcast for the darts.
I said...
You actually turned me down.
Yes, let the world know.
It took me 3 days to get, just to let everyone know. Like, Ariel has been, really dramatising and glamorising darts so well in the US. And I was like, he was like, we have to do something together on the darts, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, Ariel... I really want you on the darts. He said, in what capacity? I said, look, we just want you there. We want your presence. We want your greatness.
Yeah, thank you.
I did all this big pitch and you were like,
nice.
Thanks very much, but I'm just going to go with my son.
Yeah.
So thanks, but no thanks. I don't want your money.
No.
And that was refreshing, Ariel.
You know what? Yeah.
Because I don't see that a lot in the industry, so that really does show.
Money was a little bit low.
The money was low. To be fair, if it was a bit more, you would have been there in a flash.
You actually apologized before saying the number. So I was like, oh.
You were like, just give me the info. And I was like, well, look, the money's not great. It's so-and-so. And you just went, no thanks. I was like, wow.
I was like, I've seen you wear an outfit that costs more than that
That's
number.
True. It was a little bit low. But it's darts. We're getting there.
Yeah. I had a great time, by the way.
It's good, huh?
First of all, my ego was on fire that night because everyone was coming up to me like I had done something, thanking me, shaking my hand, showing love and gratitude. And then I'm told that the great Barry Hearn wants to say hello to me. He comes over and he pulls me in real tight and he says, you're part of the family now for everything you've done. What a presence he has. First time meeting him.
Strong handshake. Eh?
Strong handshake. Presence. And then I told you that he said this, but I have to say it on air. I said, I've been hearing that your book, your son's book, Eddie's book, sold more than his. And what a line right off the top of his head. Has he used this line before?
Yeah,
he said,
a lot, yeah.
Oh, he has? He said, Eddie's book was a comic. Mine's a classic. Yeah. And I was like, fucking hell, Barry, what a line.
The funny thing is I wrote my book, right, during lockdown.
Yeah.
Took me 3 months.
Did you really write it or was it like...
With a ghostwriter.
Okay, fair enough.
I mean, he wrote his book over about 8 years.
Oh, wow.
Firstly, I got 3 times as much money from the publisher. And more importantly, I sold 6 times as many books.
6?
So, yeah, I'll never let him forget that.
Holy shit.
He's a legend.
He is a legend. He was having a great time. He was among the people. And what a scene that was. My first time.
And also for us, through the PDC, you saw on the Saturday night sold out at
yes.
MSG. I mean, a great platform for us. I think we're seeing the sport of darts, won't go into it too much on your combat hour.
Sure.
But the sport of darts, or, certainly the spectacle of darts, huge. UK, Germany, Holland, Poland, all throughout Eastern Europe, Australia coming up in a couple of weeks, but also America, I think, has plenty of potential as well. I think I still see it now when I'm wandering around in all these interviews today. We just sold out Madison Square Garden for the darts. Sorry? Darts.
Yeah.
I'm like, please, just watch it
and
be a part of it.
Oh, no. It's like pro wrestling. That's what it reminded me of. With the music and the characters. Holy shit. The fans, I wasn't expecting that. Like, I've seen it at Ali Pali, and I went with my 3 kids, and they were like, what the fuck is this? Like, people dressed up as bananas and, like, Oompa Loompas and shit. They were not expecting.
It's just a night out. It's an experience,
It's fantastic. By the way, speaking of the theater, and I know you're doing Berlanga Quigley there this Saturday, and we'll talk about that. There is some talk of getting rid of the theater.
I heard that. I only heard that today.
Yeah. How do you feel about this? Because this is like, I mean, I know MSG is MSG.
Yeah.
But this is a hotspot for boxing.
Look, I think that the theatre enables you to go to Madison Square Garden and sort of build someone into the big arena. Let's be honest, there's really few fights that sell out the big arena there.
Yeah.
I mean, I've done
that are even worthy of the big arena.
Yeah, I've done it, I think, 3 times. But the theatre I think it's important for boxing in New York because it's the perfect size. We actually miss venues like that in the UK because we go to the O2, we might do sometimes 5,000 or 6,000, but we're kind of shutting the top tier, we're curtaining off that bit. There's, 3,000 or 4,000 seater arenas are really hard to come by. And, I don't know how it would affect the general event community, but for boxing, it would be a big blow if we lost the Hulu Theater. So I heard that today for the first time.
Yeah, actually, it's no longer the Hulu Theater.
I know. They keep telling me that as well.
Yeah, it's just the theater. It would be a blow to New York as well. Because these fights, I mean, maybe you could go to Brooklyn, although Brooklyn's not really doing that many fights these days.
It's mad because, the Barclays Centre originally was that they made a play to be the home of boxing and a fantastic arena as well. Great to have that as a potential. I think there'd still stage fights there, but the PBC used to be kind of in-house there. But the theatre, I think, tremendous venue. I mean, always a great atmosphere. I mean, we will be sold out on Saturday. Again, like a mini Taylor Serrano, but this time you're going to have 90% Puerto Rican and 10% Irish for Quigley. But, Berlanga, it's kind of like your graduation to the big room. So you used to see a lot of fighters start at the Hulu, and as they became bigger, moved into the big arena. And that's the plan with Edgar.
How did the Puerto Rican fans feel about Berlanga? Because I was actually at my kids' school last week for their graduation, going into middle school, and the custodian came up to me. He's from Puerto Rico, and he was talking to me about Xander Zayas and Serrano and stuff. And I was like, "You got Berlanga coming up," and he's like, "Nah, he's just an influencer. Fuck that guy." And I was like, "Really? Is that how they feel about him?"
Well, no, I don't think so. I mean, again, these guys, Edgar's outselling all those guys. I think that there is still a lot of hype around Edgar Berlanga. He had his first 16 fights, he won via first round knockout. I mean, the level of opposition got criticised, but that's never been seen before, right? Now he's stepping up. Listen, we're calling out Canelo Alvarez, we're calling out Gennady Golovkin. So one of the problems is you team up with me, and I'm like going around the whole city with a megaphone.
Right.
And it happened a bit with Regis Prograis last week, where he's going home, he's doing so much media, there's so much hype, people are talking about him against Garcia, against Tank, and he actually underperformed. So, if the hype's not real for Berlanga, he'll get found out against Quigley, because Quigley's not an elite guy, but he's a world-class fighter, and he'll cause him problems. So, Edgar's a character, like Cheeto, who you just had on, who I've never met before in my life. I looked at him, I listened to him, I liked him. And that's the same with Berlanga. First time I went in to meet him, when we're in a room like this, he's got the black mink coat on, he's got all the ice around his neck, he's got the shades on. Before I even said anything, I thought, I like you. Yeah. You're different. Problem is, with that kind of personality, you're going to get the ones like your teacher who look at him and go, he hasn't beaten anyone yet and he's wearing the mink coat. I don't mind. I don't care. Like him, hate him, but we've seen through ticket sales, this kid could be a star. And if we can build him up, if he's good enough to get to a Canelo Alvarez fight, the Mexico and Puerto Rican rivalry will be insane. But you have to prove your worth.
How far is he away from those?
So, beats Quigley, goes into a Munguia or a Golovkin or a Ryder or Saunders, then we can start really talking about. Listen, we could do the fight now. It would do great numbers. But if he really, proves his worth, it'd be a mega fight.
So when you're sitting at the Smoothie King Center on Saturday, and you're seeing the fight play out the way it's playing out, he gets the win, Prograis gets the win, but it's just not probably the performance that you were expecting, especially first fight together. What is going on in your mind? What do you think?
I'm probably too honest, and I'm probably too passionate. I'm sitting there, I'm screaming at them both. Let your hands go. Zorilla, stop running. As soon as Zorilla holds, I'm screaming at Zorilla because I'm disgusted. That's actually a heart. These guys have to go in there and fight.
Sure.
But I'm not being funny. When you get an opportunity to become world champion, like Zorilla, who can really punch, by the way, as well, and just run from the second round to the 12th round, not engage, not look to engage, I'm like, and I've got his manager to my left who's told me, please give the opportunity to Zorilla. He always comes to fight. He's this. I'm like, I'm furious because I've been hyping this fight up. I've been hyping this guy up for the last 8 to 10 weeks. And I'm a fight fan, so I'm sitting there and, I've paid for it, by the way. I haven't paid for a ticket. I've paid for the entire fight.
Right.
And I'm thinking, because it's really on me. And that's when you do the interview after and you have to say, Regis was below par. It was a poor performance from him, and Zorilla never come to fight. And it was a poor fight. What else do you want to say? It's not, it was technical. It wasn't technical. That. I actually sent a message into the group chat of Matchroom and said, congratulations on another historic event. because I saw on Twitter that it was actually the lowest punches ever thrown in a world championship fight. So you have to laugh with it at the same time. But like, there's no point beating around the bush. We must do better. And Regis must do better. And Zorilla must do better. And, you know, it's ultimately, that's the product. And the product wasn't good enough. Luckily, we do a show every week.
Right.
So we're on to the next one.
Now, when you say we must do better, like ultimately you put the fight together, at that point, once they're in the ring, it's not really...
Yeah, I guess, but was it the right... You know, I look at that instance and say, was it the right opponent? You know, it's all very well saying the manager said he'll come to fight, he'll let you... But, you know, when we watch his previous performances, how often has he come to fight? You know, did we know he was going to move much? You know, he's got an awkward style. Was he the right guy for Regis? You know, did we push Regis too hard? Did we drag him around on his media? You know, but at the same time, that comes with the job. And that's a danger for Berlanga this Saturday. He's everywhere. You know, I've seen him from, you know, I got here on Monday. He's been everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, almost to the point I saw him 20 minutes ago. He looked a bit tired. You know, I'm thinking, you know, but if you want to be a superstar, you got to do the work. So you can't have it both ways at the same time.
I was wondering about that with Gary Cully in Ireland, right? You know, we did the JD thing and all that, and it was a big deal for him. Have you ever been in a spot where you're like, this guy's doing too much? Midweek, have you ever pulled the plug?
Yeah, sometimes. I mean, it's difficult because...
This is a fine line, right?
Yeah, it is, but I think it's a learning curve. You know, I've seen fighters who have done too much, who have reflected on their performance and gone, maybe I did too much. But at the same time, like, if you want to be a star, you've got media obligations. You know, I look at AJ, I look at Canelo Alvarez, they do more than anybody on fight week, but they've done it consistently. Do you know what I mean? And, you know, maybe the buzz, but also, like, sometimes you fish for excuses. Like, the bottom line is I had a, you know, argument on the spot with Conor McGregor when Gary Cully got knocked out, which was, listen, we're talking about this kid as one of the top 135 pounders in the division. He's ready to go on and, you know, he's a fight away from Haney and all this kind of stuff. You get beat by Jose Felix, you ain't ready. And that's the reality. This guy's lost 3 of his last 4 or whatever it's been. He's lost on points to Tyrone McKenna, another Irishman. Every time, you know, Oscar De La Hoya, who goes at me like literally every other second, Ramla Ali got knocked out on Saturday night, right? Great. I mean, great fight, by the way. I've become a bigger fan of hers through that fight, even though she lost, and people will. You know, straight away, other promoters come out and say, more terrible matchmaking from Hearn.
Right.
His fighters got knocked out. It's like, isn't that good matchmaking?
Right.
Like, you know, maybe not for the fight, but don't you want, what do you want to see? One-sided fights where fighters never learn, never progress? I hate that about
it. It is
boxing.
Bizarre that
There's
that's the reaction.
There's a horrible hypocrisy in boxing where it's like Dimitri Bivol. You know, same thing with Oscar. Oh, what terrible matchmaking. He got Canelo beat. It's like, don't you want Canelo to be in fights where he could lose? I think that's the whole point, isn't it? So it's weird. You know, you have to get the development right of a fighter, but at the same time, I can't hype up Gary Cully, tell you he can win a lightweight world title and he gets beat by Jose Felix. It don't make sense. So he has to go away. Gary Cully's, you know, he's a dog in a great sense of now he's working harder than ever. He's been through that moment. He'll come back a better fighter. You know, he'll rematch Jose Felix, probably on Katie Taylor, Chantel Cameron too. And it'll be a nail biter and we'll all be petrified and probably he'll come through it. Lee Wood against Maurizio Lara. Got knocked out, activates the instant rematch, beats him. And everyone goes, well, that was actually easy. Right. So you learn.
It seems like it comes and goes in waves with you. Like right now you're getting a ton of shit from all these dudes. Like Oscar's tweeting about you incessantly. Aram's talking about you. Why are they so obsessed with you right now?
The Oscar one's weird. Like, I mean...
What triggered this one, this
it's
particular
like this Ryan Garcia thing. I mean,
it feels like you're trying to meddle?
No, I mean, look, I've never spoke to Ryan. Someone asked me my opinion about Oscar, the tweets, like, and I just said it's a complete shambles. It's a mess. It's like, imagine me tweeting Anthony Joshua, going, get over it, mate. Yeah. Sort yourself out. Like, you know, I mean, like, firstly, you just never do that.
It's a bad
you know, so, but again, at the same time, it helps me build my profile in the US that all these guys, these you know, Oscar's a massive name, great fighter, pound for pound great. For all his troubles and for all the legal battle that's about to ensue, all he's talking about is me. And I'm like, that's wild. I mean, Aram's just like Aram, you know, but I don't know, they don't seem to like me really.
Do you think Ryan ever fights for Golden Boy again? No. I
think, I mean, listen, I don't know the legal situation. Once it's that deep, it's very difficult to go back. You imagine now, after everything that's been said, for the lawsuits that have been filed, for everybody to turn around and go, yeah, actually, let's carry on for another 2 years.
Because he's tweeting like, who do you guys want to see Ryan fight next?
I'm meeting these guys without any authority, really, or speaking to the fighter.
Right.
But look, I wish, I mean, the bizarre thing is every time Oscar tweets me, I'm like saying to the DAZN guys, well, we're on the same platform.
Yeah.
Like, but he's...
Have you ever met him recently?
Yeah, he couldn't be nicer.
Really?
I mean, I promoted a fight. We had a fighter on. We got to do more business together.
Recently?
Big hug. Yeah, it was in Abu Dhabi. I mean, 6 months ago? Less. But,
Ups
talk
and
about
downs.
that. Same with Oscar. Like, wild.
So with Ryan Garcia, you can't talk to him, right? Contractually, he's not allowed to talk to anyone.
We've never had a conversation with him. Listen, if Ryan Garcia becomes a free agent, Ryan responded on social media to my comments about he's already... I feel like when you make a move like that, you know what you're doing. Do you know what I mean? You're not making a move and then becoming a free agent and then... That's my opinion.
Sure.
Right? He says he's not decided on anything. But at the end of the day, there's people associated with a team who have associations with other companies. I know how the game works. Like, I feel like he's looking at other fights with other platforms and pay-per-view opportunities. But more than that, the relationship's severed. And when that happens, there's really no way back, in my opinion. I've been involved in that situation before. So wish everybody the best. Hope everyone can be happy.
Yeah. This could sideline him for a while, though. This happened to Andre Ward, right?
Maybe, or maybe there's a settlement, or, but it looks pretty deep. I mean, and for Golden Boy, like, you lose Ryan Garcia. Obviously, they've lost Canelo Alvarez. From a stable point of view, it's a horrific blow.
Are you going to sign Devin Haney?
I'm seeing him this week. I feel like Devin should move into free agency. Like, when you look at what Canelo's done, which is so clever, really, like, we're trying to make the Bivol fight. Looks like it won't happen.
Yeah, why not?
So Bivol wants to fight at 168 to try and become undisputed. He's about legacy, not just money.
Yeah.
Canelo wants the same terms as last time because he wants the credit for victory. He doesn't want people saying, oh, you boiled Bivol down to 168. So the problem is there, you've got two competitors that don't really want to give an inch. Bivol's going, I've already beat you at 175. I don't want to fight you again. But let me fight for your belts. And Canelo's going, no, I want to beat you how you beat me last time.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's going to make the fight...
Probably.
Really?
And I think he'll fight Charlo. I mean, that seems to be the noise.
Canelo Charlo?
Yeah, that's what they're
And how's that going to work in terms of the platform?
It'll be on Showtime.
It'll be on Showtime.
But that's the blessing of the free agency.
Yeah.
And I look at fighters like Devin. The fight that makes most sense for Devin right now is Regis Prograis. But if I start trying to lock Devin into a 3 or 5 year deal, we might lose the Prograis fight. I'd rather roll the dice on the Prograis fight. I think Regis can win that fight. Devin's a favourite after Saturday. And people will say, yeah, but Eddie, if you don't sign Regis, DAZN will lose the belt. So what? Let's have a little bit of fun. Yeah. Let's roll the dice. I mean, isn't that what it's all about? It's not about locking people in. And, I know boxing's a chess move, but at the same time, sometimes you've got to put your balls on the line and say, no, come on, let's roll the dice. And if we lose, we'll be absolutely sick because we've lost the WBC 140-pound title. But we get a great fight for DAZN. Devin comes back. Regis could win. And then he fights Ryan Garcia or So I think there's too much of that. Like, trying to force a fighter to align with you in a multi-fight deal over 3 or 5 years, like those days for me, and I don't always want the obligation. As purses increase, there may be a time where there's not the value in Devin Haney, and I'm locked into a 3 or 4 year deal with a guy paying him $4 or $5 million a fight that actually commercially doesn't make sense anymore. So I prefer to build the relationships with the guys like Devin. If you gave Devin the option now, he'd love to come back, but it might not make sense for him to come back. But he could fight Regis, and if he won, he could fight Tank on Fox, and if he won, he could fight Teofimo on ESPN. But you got to, you're backing yourself there because you're moving without the security of a long-term deal. Canelo's done it. He's Canelo.
Right.
And it's worked well for him.
So is there any truth to this talk of him going to Saudi Arabia and Haney?
Yeah, I think, he's been out there a lot. They're making a clear play in boxing. I'm not sure what that play is in terms of schedule of fights, but they seem to want to sign fighters.
Right.
Prince Khalid, we've done fights out there. He's a massive boxing fan. So obviously they're not short of a few quid. And if they want to sign a fighter
But if they sign him, would that, stand in the way of this plan?
No, because I said to Devin, if you sign with Skills Challenge in Saudi Arabia, we'll do the Regis Prograis fight in Saudi Arabia.
Okay.
I would go to DAZN. If that has to be on a individually negotiated basis with a platform, I would go to DAZN and say, look, we can't lose or not provide Regis with this opportunity. Let's roll the dice against Devin Haney and we'll bring the belts and the stardom back. So, you know, I hate this side of the street, that side of the street, you know. Sometimes I think it's better to let the fighter take the opportunity and roll the dice.
We blew right through Canelo Charlo, but you just said Showtime in passing. So what, DAZN doesn't get a Canelo fight?
No, I mean, you know, they have no long-term contract with him. So they've done his last 12, 13 fights, other than one, Caleb Plant.
Yeah.
And if we can't deliver Bivol, we'll work towards his fight in January and May. But he will take a fight on whatever platform provides.
And are you involved in that?
Not really. I mean, only on a sort of friendly. I mean, I won't be getting paid.
Would you go?
Show. Yeah, I'd go. I mean, I don't want to like turn up like a...
Well, I know you have some friction there, right?
Yeah, well, look, when they did the Plant fight, Canelo asked me to come and I went, and they wouldn't really let me in anywhere. They man-marked me with security.
Really?
Like at the weigh-ins and stuff like this, which was a bit awkward. So I don't want to like be, you know...
A distraction.
No, but at the end of the day, he doesn't say, I'm sure he'd like me there, but it's not going to change his life.
What if he asks you to walk him out?
Yeah.
What a scene that would be.
Yeah, no, of course. Yeah.
That would be something.
Yeah, but we've got a great relationship, and it's a business for Sal. Again, like Devin, if you gave him the option, I believe he'd say he'd like to be with us. But if we can't deliver him the fight that he wants,
right,
he has to look at elsewhere.
And why Charlo and not, say, Benavidez? I
think the money's got to be... You never know on the numbers. The numbers that I'm hearing for the Benavidez offer is small in comparison to what I believe it should be. I know what I paid Sal for the Gennady Golovkin fight. I think the Benavidez fight is a big fight. I know what I would pay for the Benavidez fight, and it's a lot more than that. But this is another thing where, you know, it's almost like the manager and team of Benavidez aren't really looking at the options of, you know, well, what would DAZN pay for that fight? Do you know what I mean? It's just, this is what you'd get. So, you know, really the fighter should be saying, well, hang on, you know, I don't know his contractual situation, but it's almost like, you know, could we do that fight elsewhere? So that's a big fight. Now, one thing I'll tell you about Canelo is he has absolutely no fear of anyone. He would fight David Benavidez like that. He also understands it's a massive fight, and he runs a good business with Eddie Reynoso. They made a lot of money and they know their worth. So he has no fear, whether it's Badu Jack, whether it's Charlo, whether it's Bivol, whether it's Benavidez, you know. And who knows how long Sal has left. Could be 2 fights, could be 5 fights, I don't know, you know. But he's an all-time great.
Now, what's going on with these heavyweights? I mean, this is so confusing. Why aren't the fights being made? So then I hear it's going to be Joshua White. Now it's not Joshua White, and you want him to fight someone. Is he going to fight Big Baby Miller now?
No, definitely not.
I got a press release from Dimitri Salita this morning from that. No,
definitely not. So look, the focus for us is Joshua Wilder. That fight's going to take place in December.
Is that a done deal?
In Saudi Arabia. I mean, without signing a contract, through my previous relationships with Prince Khalid and these people, when they tell me it's done, it's done.
Why does it have to be in December?
Because that's when they want it to take place.
And is it the same? Is this also going to be a Fury card too?
So they want to do Fury against Usyk and Joshua against Wilder on the same night.
Sheesh, this is insane.
But, as we've been told, we're doing Joshua Wilder regardless.
Okay.
Obviously, Fury's Fury, and those negotiations are ongoing. I believe Tyson Fury's going to fight in September, October, and won't fight Usyk in December.
Oh.
That's what I think.
Against who?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I mean, he said today there's a big announcement coming. He said he's reached out to Dana. He
said he got an offer. I wanted to ask you about that too.
I don't believe that. Do you believe that?
Honestly, yes.
Do you?
Can I tell you why?
Go on.
Because this whole thing right now about, you know, John Jones and Tyson is just to stick it to Francis. Because, you know, Francis left to try to get this fight. And now all of a sudden, one press conference, Dana says, we don't make those fights. The next press conference, he's like, hey, Tyson, come make the fight.
Yeah, but the thing is, what I say to you is, as an outsider, as a very casual fan in MMA, do you feel that Francis is a little bit in no man's land right now? Like, what is he actually doing? He's going to fight on PFL?
He's going to fight MMA, yeah.
On PFL?
Yeah, 2024.
Why?
Because he wants to get a boxing match beforehand.
But he's not going to get it. I mean, look, there's talks of him against Chisora.
Has he been boxed out? I feel like the boxing community has almost boxed him out.
Do you know, I mean, look, I speak on behalf of Anthony Joshua, and you know, and I say that loosely because he's the boss. I sat down with Francis, as you know, we had a long meeting, and I spoke to Anthony about the fight, and just the stage that he's at in his boxing career, he's still He's chasing greatness.
Yeah.
He wants to beat Wilder. He wants to fight Fury for the world title. And when I brought up the Ngannou fight, he's like, which I thought might be different in terms of that conversation. But he just wasn't really interested because he's got business to take care of in the sport. Fury would fight Ngannou, but I just feel like the problem is the only place where you can generate the kind of money that both of those fighters perceive its worth is in the Middle East. And once the Middle East say no, the market's dead for that fight.
Have they said no?
They must have, because I'm sure it's been discussed and pitched. There are rumours about a third fight for that night in December, which could be Ngannou against Chisora, who is part of... I actually quite like that fight because I don't see Francis being competitive against Tyson or AJ, but more competitive against Chisora. But I just feel like, you know, do UFC look at Francis Ngannou now and go, like...
Oh, that's what this all is.
Yeah, but
that's what this all is.
What have you done, ultimately, you know?
Yeah, well, let's see.
I mean, you will know the PFL deal and the numbers. I don't know.
Yeah.
But,
well, let me ask you something. If you would have gone to Anthony Joshua and said, I could get you John Jones, does it matter?
No interest. I think he'd rather fight Francis Ngannou. I think the whole, Ngannou, for me, again, as an MMA casual, I'm more interested in Ngannou against these guys than John Jones. I mean...
Why is that? Because he was the heavyweight champ?
Yeah, I think he's a bigger puncher. I think he's a boxer. You know, don't forget that when he made his way into Europe, he came as a boxer.
Yeah.
And he was actually going to be a boxer and then found his way into MMA, you know, and it's like, you know, I watch clips, obviously it's a DAZN fight, but I watch clips of Nate Diaz hit pads. I think I might have even told you, and I was like, you know that it's going to be a mismatch against Jake Paul, don't you?
You're telling me this?
Yeah, and I know you love Nate Diaz, and I love. Listen, I've only met him a couple of times. What a gent! But for it to be a mismatch against Jake Paul,
you think he's getting smoked?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Embarrassing. They just upped it to 10 rounds now.
It won't go 4.
Really?
I mean, listen, unless it's all a bit of a bluff by Nate, what I saw,
could be.
Maybe.
That was like I've seen people. My guy Wade Plum, he did like an hour breakdown video on a 13-second clip. I mean, come on. What are we talking about? It's a 13-second clip.
Yeah, Ariel, you can see people hit pads and you know whether they can...
You saw me hit pads, right?
High
quality.
What I saw, maybe you against Nate is a 50-50. But we can have a friendly. We can have a friendly bet on that fight.
Really?
And I'll give you odds.
Wow.
I don't know what the actual line is because you guys do things a little bit different over here.
Yeah.
But I'll give you 3-1 on Nate Diaz if you want it.
Wow, you're that confident, huh?
Honestly. And we're talking about Jake Paul.
Yeah.
We're not talking about Fury or AJ fighting an MMA fighter. We're talking about Jake Paul.
So you think these guys are just totally if you were to advise Francis right now, you'd just say stick to MMA. Forget this boxing dream.
Because you want to land the big... Listen, what Francis wants to do is land a massive payday, right?
But if it's against Chisora, is there a big payday there?
The only difference in the heavyweight world is Francis can really punch. Now, listen, if he lands one on Fury or he lands one on AJ or he lands one on Chisora, he can win the fight. You know, what doesn't happen in the smaller weight classes, that doesn't really happen.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? But, I don't know, once there isn't... You need a site fee for a fight like that. I mean, I don't know what Francis wants, but you're talking about tens and tens of millions of dollars for those fights. And it may just not be there.
Is there a chance that we're getting Wilder, Joshua, Fury, Usyk, and Ngannou, Chisora on the same card?
I mean, I think that would be...
That'd be insane.
Yeah, that would be...
Is there a chance of this?
I think that's what they want.
Wow. They got that kind of money over there. I'm just joking. I know. I don't know if they were in their feelings because of Messi turning them down. So what about Joshua? Who will he fight?
Yeah, I think August 12th. I mean, right now, Saudi don't really want him to fight on August 12th because they want him to wait for the December fight, but we want him to fight.
How does that work out? They're paying you all this money to fight in December. You're able to say no?
Just because, look, the Wilder fight's a massive fight for his career. He's joined a new trainer in Derek James. He had one fight with him. Mm-hmm. He's in camp. He's been training for 5 weeks. I think he just, for preparation for that fight, he's just going to be better physically, mentally, everything if he gets that fight in first. We're not expecting it to be Usyk or Fury or one of these big fights, but I just feel like our plan was always to fight 3 times this year. And if we can do it, I feel like he'll go into that Wilder fight with a lot of momentum, and I think he'll knock him out.
So who would it be against?
someone from the top 15. But we have 8 weeks, so we need to make a move.
Yeah. I mean, there's got to be someone, right? You just don't want to tell us right now.
Not really, because as this boxing world works, I tell you, by the time I get out of here, someone signed that guy, blocked me there, got him to double his money. And this is the horrible world that we operate in.
Is there a front runner?
Not really. Okay. No, there's 3 or 4 guys that we're looking at.
Would it be in London?
Yes, O2 Arena.
Okay, you have the venue booked.
I hope so.
How does that work, by the way? Because Regis told me that when you met with him, you already had Smoothie King booked. You could book a venue without a fight sign.
You can hold a venue.
Wow.
And someone can challenge you. But when they challenge you, you have to pay.
Oof.
So you book it as first pencil, then you could have second pencil, third pencil, and then eventually second pencil will say, have they secured, you know, we've already secured it anyway because we're going to do a show, whatever happens.
Right.
But what will normally happen is if I've booked out a venue and you've also phoned the venue and they've said, no, Matchroom have got it, you can challenge Matchroom and say you need to pay. And if you don't want to put the money up to pay, you get it.
Wow, fascinating. Which is the most expensive venue? Is it MSG?
Yeah, New York is brutal.
Brutal. The union...
Hotels, unions, restaurants, transportation. But there's something very special about New York Fight Week. I mean,
and it's still worth it even if you're at the theater?
I think so. I mean, even from taking it away from a broadcast point of view or a fighter point of view, even for us as a business, every time we come to Madison Square Garden, you know, we're little old Matchroom from the UK doing another show at Madison Square Garden. And I love it.
Your biggest was Taylor Serrano. Can we talk about
Joshua Ruiz? I mean...
No, Taylor Serrano. Okay. Come on. That was historic.
So was Joshua Ruiz. But
because of the result.
Yeah.
Because of the result. Yeah. So my dear Katie Taylor is back out there. She's running. She's with the people. She seems to be handling it well. Is she?
Yeah, I mean, she was, you know, I've spoken to her just really via message since, but saw her after the fight and she was absolutely devastated. I mean, this is everything to her, you know, and really, she has a rematch clause, and it doesn't matter if you had another fight that was twice as easy for twice as much money. She's rematching Chantel Cameron. You know, there's the Serrano fight. You know, I've spoke to her manager, Brian. You know, we've had chats. What's the other options? Well, it's this. I'll speak to Katie. Sorry, no. Like, she's a pure competitor. She believes she was under par that night against Chantel Cameron. She believes she can beat her in the rematch. Many won't. You know, there's a lot of similarities between the Bivol and Canelo fight where, you know, Canelo believes he can beat Bivol and he would start as a massive underdog, same as Katie Taylor this time around. But I guess you get to that point in her career, what else is there to do but rematch Chantel Cameron? Like, so...
At 140?
At 140, yeah. Same thing.
Same thing.
She doesn't want to bring Chantel Cameron down to 130.
Cameron wants it probably at 35.
She does, because she could become a two-time...
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about, Bivol Canelo. You know, all of a sudden it's like Chantel Cameron saying, I'd like to be a 2-division world undisputed. And Katie says, no, I don't want to bring you down to 35. And everyone says, well, you changed the weight. She's saying, I want this exactly the same as last time, only this time it's Cameron against Taylor, because she's earned the right to be the A-side.
So I was told earlier this month that there was a conversation between Matchroom and MVP about Katie Taylor, Amanda Serrano too. Where does that stand?
Yeah, I mean,
did you explore
was the plan. You know, if she beat Chantel Cameron, that was the plan. And even through defeat.
But this is post the Cameron fight.
Yeah, but there was still conversations. And it may still happen. But but right now, there's no talking Katie Taylor out of this.
What's a bigger fight?
I think Taylor Cameron, you know what I mean? Because it's almost like career on the line stuff. You know, you can fight Serrano again and beat her, but you still lost to Cameron. And that's what's in Katie's head right now. Like, if I beat Serrano again, so what? I lost to Cameron. And I didn't activate my rematch clause.
Which would you prefer her to do?
You know what? Honestly, from a sports point of view, from a competitive point of view, I'd like her to do the rematch.
Which one? They're both
the Cameron one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I think once you don't exercise a rematch clause like that, it's like, you know, we talk about AJ against Ruiz. Once he got stopped, I went to his apartment in New York the next day. All he could talk about was the rematch. Everyone was going, whatever you do, don't do the rematch. You got knocked down 5 times. You need to build up your confidence. You need to do that. He exercised the rematch clause. He won every round in a rematch. Then he lost to Usyk. Everyone went, you got well beat. You can't fight him again. and he exercised the rematch clause. Now, I know he got beat, but it's like, once you don't exercise that rematch, I don't know, I feel like that could live with you forever, and that could change your confidence, could change your career path, your momentum, everything. I think if you sign for an immediate rematch, Lee would. Oh, you can't rematch Maurizio Lara. What, in 3 months? You just got stopped. He's going to run through you, won every round. Like, you know, for me, you have to run it back. And I don't think it really matters what I think, what you think, what Brian thinks. Katie Taylor probably hasn't slept since May the 30th, thinking about Chantel Cameron.
Will it be at 3 Arena?
Most likely, yeah.
Most likely again.
Great atmosphere, huh?
Tremendous. Oh my gosh, it's one of my favorites. By the way, speaking of great atmospheres, City Ground, where does that stand?
Yes. Oh, mate.
Is that going to happen?
Yeah, I mean, look, we have a mandatory which we're dealing with the WBA, but we've been in talks with the City Ground. The hard thing is, it looks like it's going to land around September time, so you have to stage it during an away game.
Yeah.
So obviously you're at home that Saturday, the following Saturday you're away, and the following Saturday you're at home.
Yeah.
So you have to stage it in the middle week, but the picture's got to prepare itself and repair itself for the following week. So we're talking to the groundsman, we're talking to the staff. The owners want to do it. It's an historic fight.
Yes.
It will be unbelievable. It will be such a historic moment for the club and the city, and no one deserves it more than Lee. So fingers crossed, Lee Wood against Josh Warrington at the City Ground, and you will have to come to that.
Holy smokes. In September?
Yeah, looks
Holy
like it,
shit.
Yeah.
Wow. That would be how many people would
It'd be between 25 and 30,000.
Wow. That would be, and you can't go head to head with Forrest, right? Like I was told they don't, like the last one I think I was talking to him, and I was like, why are you fighting in Manchester? It's because it was on the same day or something, or can
Yeah,
you go?
no, the arena wasn't available in Nottingham on the date that DAZN wanted, so we had to go to Manchester. So,
what a great scene it was, though.
It'll be amazing, yeah. It'll be amazing at Forest.
How close to being done is that?
It all comes down to the club, honestly. We're ready to go. So if they can get it over the line, the hardest person to convince in these situations is the groundsman. Because every braid of glass is like their own child.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it's like, we can't do that. I'll never get it ready. It's like, come on, mate.
Come on.
Yeah.
Like, throw on a couple of extra seats there. And the club owns the stadium, right?
Yeah.
So ultimately you're working with them.
And they're a powerful organisation who love sport and want to create history for the city.
Now, what do you think of this whole Teofimo Lopez situation? BS?
Yeah, I mean, he hasn't vacated. I mean, I was
that's
shocked.
BS too?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I've been told in the last 24, 48 hours. And I thought it was strange. Like, you know, Paco Alcazar from the WBO tweeted and said, Teofimo texted me and said he's going to vacate. We wish him all the best. Doesn't work like that. Like, you have to provide in writing with your team that you're officially vacating the title. And he obviously hasn't done that yet. Now, listen, he's a temperamental kid. He might do. I don't hate the move. It's bizarre, but Teofimo's bizarre. But he's also a tremendous fighter.
Right.
And he's just like, you know, we talked about that earlier. He's like, you know, he comes off, he beats Lomachenko, he loses to Kambosos. He has 2 subpar performances, you know, last time against Sandor Martin, arguably lost that fight, and then beats Josh Taylor in an unbelievable performance. So I think every genius has a flaw, and that's just Teofimo. And I would love to see him fight Regis, Haney, Tank. I mean, you know, but yeah, the strange thing, I was talking about Teofimo earlier, one of the strange things which I really struggle with in American boxing is, how can you get a guy like Teofimo, who beats Richard Comey for the world title in the Garden, right? Unbelievable performance. Beats Lomachenko for arguably the undisputed championship. And then we promote his fight against Kambosos and we creep over the line to sell out at the Hulu, the then Hulu. And then in a much bigger fight against Josh Taylor recently, they couldn't even sell out the theatre. Like, what is it with you guys? Like, he should be an absolute superstar. Like, he's flamboyant, he's talented, he's flawed as well. He's a character. He's got his dad. Like, I don't know. He's from Brooklyn. Like, it's weird. You know.
When you say you guys, do you mean
Americans?
I thought you were talking about Top Rank.
No. I'm talking about, listen, Top Rank are a good promotional company.
Yeah.
Maybe they didn't push him in the right way earlier on, but like Taylor...
I think it's just kind of the state of boxing in this country.
Yeah.
Anytime I talk to people about boxing, they're like, "Oh, boxing's dead. Boxing's dead." It's not the case in the UK. It's on fire in the UK.
Yeah.
Dare I say?
I don't know. You know, we go and
How many big boxing stars are there in America right now? Like
yeah.
guys who, if Tyson Fury walked down the street, I mean, he's tall, so he would stick out. But you get my point. Like, is he a household name?
Yeah, but certain special fighters and special personalities are your chance to have those nights. Like Edgar Berlanga will sell out the theatre on Saturday. He's fighting in a. You're talking about Teofimo against Josh Taylor, arguably the two top fighters in the division. You know, so, but I don't know. It's not really what. It's more like, why has he not resonated with the fan base? Like, I just feel like I feel he's a superstar.
A lot of people on that Saturday, I remember seeing all on Twitter, like, he shouldn't be fighting. He's not fit to fight.
Yeah.
Do you believe in all that when you see that
he
stuff?
says now after that he was just playing with everybody, and I don't necessarily believe that either. And, you know, Teofimo's Teofimo. Like, but to be able to produce a performance like that under that kind of scrutiny, under that kind of pressure, it's a special fighter, you know? And I like the way he's come out now and said, now you're going to pay me my worth. Because arguably he's beaten the two top fighters in each division in the last, 2 years, you know? But consistency is not his number one forte. But the kid's special, you know? And I feel like, you imagine Teofimo against Tank. That's a great fight.
Also, it might be the opponents too. He's not fighting.
Yeah, but
I know Josh
probably
Taylor.
similar with Regis, you know, like Regis boxed a below par opponent, like when Teofimo boxed Sandor Martin, those guys can't get up for it. Kambosos, you know, the same. So,
I actually think ESPN has tried. They've always put him after the Heisman Trophy. I don't know if you know what that is. Yeah. They always put him after that. That's a huge audience on ESPN. So,
but again, if you've got a flamboyant personality that's a great fighter that's on a prime spot on ESPN,
why isn't it?
If that's not, there's the problem. I don't know. You know, is it the promotion? Is it boxing? Is it? I don't know. But,
just a couple more that I want to ask you about. Spence Crawford. What do you think it does pay-per-view wise?
Between 400 and 600.
Is that a good number?
I think it's a great number. I mean, look, you're slightly skewed from Ryan Garcia. They're talking about 1.2. Right. Whether it was 800, 900, 1.2, whatever it was, you're talking about two guys with very different fan bases there, with huge social media presence. Spence Crawford's just a tremendous boxing fight. I mean, like, and the size of the pay-per-view will be determined by the way that it resonates with the casual fan base. Every fight fan will buy that pay-per-view, but there's only 400,000 or 500,000 of them. So the job of Showtime and PBC is to make sure that the casual fan base, your football fans, you know, your basketball fans, go, wow, that's a great event, that's a great fight for boxing. And honestly, if any of those casual fan base are watching this show and it's not even my fight, watch the fight, because that's a great fight. Like, if we're ever going to, you know, push the greatness of boxing, that is it. And for me, you know, I backed Terence Crawford in that fight. But it's two of the very, very best. Great fight for boxing.
Is that one that you're staying up to watch?
Yeah, in a weird way, I quite like to follow these fights on Twitter.
Yeah, you said that about the Haney fight too. Like, so you'll stay up and watch?
No, I won't stay up, but like if I wake up in the night, rather than like tuning in, I'll just scroll on someone's timeline and I go through 3 or 4 sort of respected boxing journalists to get their scores after every round. I don't know why. It's just like
it's fun.
Like, I haven't actually watched Haney against Lomachenko.
Right.
I watched highlights. I watched some rounds, but yeah.
Where will that air in the UK?
That was on Sky.
No, where will Spence Crawford air?
I don't think it's been decided yet.
Okay, could that be on DAZN?
Yeah, I think it'd be a great fight for them.
Now, can I ask you a question? I'm fascinated by this stuff. What's up with this this fellow Simon Jordan? What is his problem with you? This TalkSport fellow. I had Gareth Davies on here a couple of weeks ago.
He has a few goes at me as well. Jordan is
Simon is like the Stephen A. Smith of the UK. Is that fair? Do you know who Stephen A. Smith is?
Yeah, I do know Stephen A. Smith.
He's very famous right now.
But I don't know enough about Stephen A. Smith. But let me tell you about Simon Jordan.
He's got this war with Matchroom right now.
Yeah, I don't know. Another one. You know, I don't know. I must rub people up the wrong way, Ariel.
You had the battle with him?
Yeah, it was more about the Conor Ben stuff. Like, you know, and I went in and I debated with him and I spanked him all across the studio.
Okay.
You know, and, you know, gave him a little, you know, as Conor said, whatever it was. And he didn't like it then. And it's got worse and worse. And then, but he's good. He's a fantastic
pundit?
Disc jockey, whatever, you know. Okay. And he's intelligent. but he claims to know everything about everything. So he's trying to educate me and tell me stuff about the regulations, about the commission, of which he knows nothing at all. But it was good. Like, you know, the daggers are out for me worldwide, mate, to be honest.
Isn't that exhausting?
Depends what kind of personality you are. Like, in all honesty, sometimes, yeah, it can be, sometimes it can drag you down a little bit, and other times it can just make you roll up your sleeves and go, oh, yeah.
You love it.
You know, yeah, because if you didn't have haters, if people weren't trying to block you,
right.
if people weren't trying to get you out of the game, if people weren't trying to make stuff up about you, then really, how big are you?
Right.
So I use it to fuel me. But soon, not too soon, I'll just
You're just going to fly?
I'll just go.
Wow. 50?
50's a good age.
How old are you now? 40?
44.
Wow, only 6 years left.
Yeah,
There's
maybe.
no chance in hell.
You think?
There's no chance in hell.
Listen, I look at Aram and these guys. I mean, Aram's a legend, right?
There's
93.
no chance. Yes, you're going to be that guy.
Please, Ariel.
You're going to be that guy.
What? Listen, 50 would be a great moment
No
just to
chance.
evaporate into the paradise, right?
What would you do?
I'd just go and sit on a beach, mate,
There's
and enjoy
no chance.
myself.
You love this
I'd come
shit.
off social media. I do love this shit.
Yeah,
but at the same time, like, I've been doing it for 13, 14 years. Like, I watch interviews with Aram and I watch interviews with Frank Warren, and I just think, please don't become that guy. Like, you have to remember, I grew up in a household that saw my dad arguing, screaming and shouting with Aram, with Don King, with Frank Warren. And when he left boxing and went into darts, he changed as a person, right? He had no temper anymore. He was so calm. He had a spring in his step. He was always smiling. Boxing, the worst business in the world, but unbelievably fun and unbelievably challenging, and there's no buzz like it. And when I see all these guys going at me, you think I'm coming over to America to put my flag in the sand and take over the sport of boxing, and now I've got Aram going at me, I've got Ellaby going at me, I've got Oscar de la Hoya going at me. You know? I mean, in a sick way, it really turns you on, Ariel.
It's amazing because I do actually think you love it. Like, I think you get excited when they talk shit to you, and that's a certain kind of person. But I gotta say, man, like, I'm worried about your travel schedule.
Yeah.
It's too much.
Yeah, probably. But that's what I'm saying. You know,
how do you do this? When's the last time you were home in your house? When's the last time you slept in your bed?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, not very often.
Isn't that exhausted?
It is exhausting, but that's why I'm trying to stay fit. I'm trying to stay healthy.
You travel with a trainer?
No, but I'm about to, I think.
You got to do that, because how do you stay fit and eat right?
I was at Central Park this morning running 7K at 7 o'clock this morning.
7K?
Yeah.
Jeez Louise. And
But
you're not
really,
checking your phone for 7K? I don't believe
No,
that.
I actually didn't this morning. That's a good thing.
Wow.
And I found something else. I mean, we do all the cold water therapy. I'm there at 6 o'clock tonight.
With who?
Frank Smith and Sean Palmer and the team.
You're all going together?
I went to this place last night called Stretched, which is, you know, they do 50 minutes stretching you out, you know, because you have to, because otherwise you're on a plane, you're going here, you're going there, and like, it's going to get you. And that's why about a year and a half ago, I just decided, actually, you know, I found the motivation to just get fit, lose some weight. And I don't think I could have done it for much longer, because I was knackered, I was overweight, I was eating badly, I was like, you know, and it's like, it's difficult to walk into a press conference with that buzz, you know, and that shine when you're not feeling great. So for me right now, I feel better than I've ever felt. I'm 44 years old. I feel better than I was in my 20s.
Really?
Yeah. And if I suddenly have a massive cardiac arrest over the next couple of days, please don't play this clip.
Yeah. I saw a picture of you. Do we have this picture? I just wanted to get your opinion on it. Wait for it. There, that one.
Do you know the funny thing about Instagram, right? I was thinking, like, I could put out like a post about a show.
Yeah.
I don't know, it does like 1,000 likes, 2,000 likes.
But that one?
I posted this, it did like 40,000 likes. I mean, what do people like to see me in pain or something?
Misery,
You know,
they love the misery.
But that is a great example of my fitness journey, which is, I never want to do one session, really. But I get up and I do it every single time. And for someone that works so hard in the gym, the results are quite depressing. But in good news, we're getting there slowly.
You feel like
But I just feel like that's the thing with fitness, isn't it? It's so easy to say no. Like, I'm 6'5", I'm 110 kilos. I'm not really designed to be doing that, and that's why you saw the results.
Right.
But that picture should motivate everyone out there. Anyone can do it. And I want to see you doing more as well.
I am.
I see you in your sweatsuit doing your runs and hitting the pads, and I want you to keep it up as well.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Why, do you feel like I'm unhealthy?
No, not really, but I worry about you as well, like you worry about me. I worry about you.
Is there ever a point where you're like, fuck's sake, I don't want to go on this trip?
Of course.
Okay.
Every day, Ariel. Every day I get up. That's the difference. You won't outwork me.
Right.
It's impossible because you know the ones that don't go in that day or don't go to the gym, that's the difference. You know, I have a saying called one against the head. And what that means is when you don't want to do something, but you go out and get it done, that moment, that session, whatever it is you've banked, is twice as valuable as anything else. So, like, you get, I don't really. I mean, how many times do you think I wake up every morning and go, wow, yes, I can't wait, feeling unbelievable? Yeah. No, I get up and I go, oh, God, I don't really fancy it today. I ain't got a chore. Like, it's not even a conversation. You get up and you do it. Same with the gym. I hate it. I argue with my sister all the time. Oh, I haven't got the energy to go to the gym. Shut up. Oh, you know, I'm up at 6:30 with the kids. We'll get up at 6 then. There's never an excuse.
Right.
How lucky am I to be working and doing what I do? I love boxing. It's my life. You know, I'm promoting all around the world in the biggest shows. So what? I have to travel a little bit more than other people. You know, I'm blessed to be doing what I do.
It's easy when you're in a private jet anyway.
I wish I was in a private jet.
Yeah. I did meet your sister, by the way.
She's
what a
much
lovely
nicer
lady.
than me.
A lot of people said that she's the real, brains behind Matchroom, and you don't want to cross her.
No, she's brutal.
Very nice on the surface.
She's one of the best producers. I mean, she heads up Matchroom Media that does all our live production. She worked across Premier League football.
Why doesn't she do media like you?
It's not for her.
Okay.
Totally different characters. She's so smart. I mean, I'm not smart. She's, I can sell.
You can. And it's a nice little family affair. By the way, one last thing. We talked about rematches. I've been told that you have demanded a rematch in the darts because I smoked you last time.
We're going to play.
Well, I feel like we have to. Well, you don't want it?
I don't want the smoke. No, I want the smoke.
Hearn's scared.
No,
huh?
I'm ready.
Let's do it. Look,
because now you've got a real board, haven't you?
Have you seen the board that they gave me? Have you seen the board? I sprung this upon Joe. I'll turn on the lights here. Have you seen this board that they gave me here? Look at this.
It's very impressive.
You know who signed that?
Michael Van Gerwen?
Yes, and this is Bully Boy.
Wow.
Who kind of shat the bed.
The only problem, what I'll say is, and this is the same problem as last time, is this light here.
No, this is...
I'm 6'5". For me to get the right trajectory, I'm literally...
This is, look, when you go to some stadiums, right? You go to the City Ground, it's quaint. You go to Etihad, it's big. You know, you got to play to the stadium.
Where's the darts?
Well, I just wanted to show you. Look at this. Courtesy of Winmau, we got the last time you were here, we didn't have the official board. We got this. Look at this, personalized.
Unbelievable.
So we have now even more darts.
You can go red, no? Because you're Forest.
Yeah, okay, sure.
Okay.
You want blue? We have these too. I don't know what these are, but you go first.
Okay.
So last time, I don't even know if we have it up, but last time it wasn't the best showing. A lot of people, is this a practice shot?
Yeah, 3 practice goes?
No, 1 practice.
1 practice dart?
Yeah. 1 practice, then 3 official. All right, here we go. Eddie Hearn.
Okay.
Oh shit, that's not bad.
Can we count that?
It's up to you.
No.
You don't,
no, we don't
that's a 20.
That's not,
weak. Some people have done that, by the way.
Okay.
All right, here we go. We've had some epic battles. KSI, I beat him, of course.
Oh, my God.
Ooh, nice.
5.
No, all right, I thought it was a triple. 20 in line.
Oh!
Is that a 1?
That's brutal. Because I feel like 45 would have really...
Wait, was that a 1 or... Oh.
Yeah, 26, no good.
26.
Oh, no, not
Is there
again.
anything on the line?
Do you know what the worst thing about darts is? Like, they were quite consistently bunched.
Yeah.
You can just throw them anywhere and you'll beat 26.
I could beat that in 1 shot. Is there anything on the line here? I was gonna, we're gonna talk about the darts. The next one, maybe.
I mean, this is definitely the gig for the City Ground.
Oh.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, fee to be discussed, but...
Yeah. Gig for the City Ground, maybe? Are we in front? Oh, you're in front of the camera there.
Yeah, because I didn't want to see
you've been here before, Eddie. City Ground and the rematch?
Yeah.
We could talk to Joe Markowski about that.
Yeah,
I'm pretty much DAZN boxing at this
one.
point. I'm working the Diaz Paul card. I don't know if you know this.
I feel like you should shut your eyes.
All right, here we go. So what'd you get? 26?
26.
Fuck's sake.
Oh, that's 20.
That's 20, right?
You need 6 in 2 darts.
I wanted to beat you with the bullseye,
Let's go for the real numbers, though. Like, don't just go anywhere. Oh, it's all over already.
Yeah, it is all over. I'll see you. Oh,
I can't believe it. I mean, I'm chairman of the PDC.
Oh, look at that. Oh, I wanted
10 as well, isn't it?
So what is that? 10,
44.
30, 44. I'm sorry. I want to give you this because...
So embarrassing.
Commiserations, as they say.
So
Eddie.
embarrassing.
Commiserations. So I'll see you when? September? When should I block it off?
Yeah, end of September, we'll let you know. And then looks like the rematch October, November. So 2 trips to the UK. And you're coming to London next week, aren't you?
I am, yeah. Oh, are you going?
I'm not going, but
Okay.
we'll catch
You're
up.
trying to like leave in the middle.
Do I go back now? Or?
Well, I'm just signing off. You're in the middle of my camera right over here. For fuck's sake, Eddie. There he is, Eddie Hearn. Tickets still available?
Limited. Couple of hundred left. Hulu. Previously, the Hulu.
Yes, the theater.
See you at the theater on Saturday night
Jason
for
Quigley,
Berlanga.
who, by the way, came up to me when I was at the 3 Arena. He's a big MMA fan.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good
really
fighter.
nice guy.
Yeah.
Pride of Ireland, going up against the Pride of Puerto Rico. One Edgar Berlanga. He is Eddie Hearn.